Hello, it's Carol from Cape Cod Cottage Garden. Welcome back. Today I thought I'd take you along as I go around my garden, do some maintenance. I'm basically gonna clean up my pots. My pots are all overgrown. They're not flowering like they were. I mean, partially because here on Cape Cod we have had many days in the 90s with high humidity and no rain. I seriously don't think we've had a drenching rainfall since May. Don't quote me on that, I'm not sure entirely. But it's been a long time. It's really, desperately need rain here. It's very much a drought happening here. So yeah, I'll show you around my pots. Mostly they're overgrown. That's part of the problem. No rain, that's problem number 2. And problem number 3 is they're not even flowering anymore. Like just a week ago, there were profuse blooms all over them, and now they're just lots of greenery, but not a lot of flowers. So I'm gonna go ahead and trim all the pots up on my window box up on the shed over there, which has been struggling, and feed them and treat for slug damage and earwigs, because definitely I'm having a lot of that too. So that's what I plan on doing today, so I thought you'd bring me along. I think in a couple of weeks, or maybe even sooner, I am gonna do an August garden tour so you can see how things have progressed in the garden. But before I do that, I really have to clean up. So welcome and thank you for watching. So this is the first pot I'm gonna tackle today. As you can see, the Sweet Caroline Jet Black sweet potato vine is totally overgrown. I actually went through once already and chopped this plant back, and it is very vigorous. So I'm going to do some more because it is completely covering the fan flower down here, and even the the globe amaranth is taking over. So I'm going to take out some of this, take out some of this, and my poor Nimnesia, it's getting strangled. This is like the only part of it I have left. I'm trying to revive that. Well, I did go through this pot once and do it and take back a lot, because this, even the Angelonia was getting smothered, but it's bounced back nicely. So it's gonna look drastic, but in 1 to 2 weeks time, this pot will look so much better. So let's go ahead and do that now. So here's the after. It is gonna look a little drastic and a little, not pretty, because the whirlwind flower, the white plant flower, now looks like stringy. I took out about half of the sweet potato vine. I took out a lot of the globe amaranth, even though there's still a lot in that pot. I trimmed up the nemesia, I tried to trim back some of the amaranth to give the nemesia some sun and some light, so it maybe can bounce back. But yeah, here's what I took out. So quite a bit. So let's move on to the next pot. Actually, the lemon coral sedum is doing nicely too. You can see that. It's nice. I really wanted to spill over the side of the pot, and look how much it has. Like, I don't want to break it, but it's really thick and lush. Love that. So here's the next pot I'm going to work on, my shed pot. As you can see, the toucan coral canna lily is just stunning. But the sweet petunia honey, barely any flowers on it. I do see lots of insect damage on this plant pot, so I am going to treat this one. I will probably, after I trim it up, I will treat it with this. Hold on, let me show you. This, the bug and slug killer. It's a pelletized bug and slug killer, so I will just shake it onto the soil and hopefully rectify that problem. So believe it or not, the begonias are still blooming, even though they're getting smothered. But look at them. I just think they're pretty. I think that's called the blushing rose begonia. So I'm going to go ahead and do this pot now. Not too much to the canna lilies. I'm going to leave those alone, but mostly just work on this. It's a Sweet Petunia Vista honey, or the Sweet Petunia honey. I'm not sure that's a Vista, but the Sweet Petunia honey. I am going to trim all that up, give it a haircut to promote some flower growth and treat it for slugs. So let's go ahead and do that one now. So here is the after. I know the sun is shining, so it's hard to see. It looks a little drastic, but what I did was I just took off all of the bottom. I kind of lifted the plant up and trimmed everything. And then I took out a few pieces that were around the begonia to give it some space. And also the petunias were really growing into my butterfly flower there. I forget what that's called. Stratosphere white butterfly flower, I think. I can't remember. But anyways, so I did cut back a little bit of that too. Like the honey was intermingling with that and kind of strangling it. So I took off one of the seed pods off of the canna, but I kept this one. I just think they're cool. But I did take off one big stalk of these, but I left this one. Ooh, look at the bee. Hi, bee. So that's that pot. It looks kind of sad right now, but it will flush back. I also treated it with the bug and slug, and now I'm going to give it some good watering and some liquid fertilizer, water-soluble fertilizer, excuse me, the proven winners one. So I'll do that too. I'll do that to all the pots that I took care of today. So next we're going to work on this one, our window box of the shed. I do like the Prince Tut grass, but honestly it's overtaking this. This was like, it was way too much plant for this small box. And as you can see, the Medusa sweet potato vine is drooping already. I watered this thoroughly last night. And today it's actually not too bad today. It's about 84 degrees. It's not in the 90s today, and it's still drooping. So I just think I have to think very carefully next year how I plant this box up. And my calibrachoa, I do have a couple of blooms starting, but it has not been blooming. I do see some slug damage. I'm going to treat it, but also I'm going to go underneath here and take off all, if I can show you, all of these spent blooms. You're not supposed to, you really don't have to deadhead this, but this thing's not flowering. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a trim. See that spent bloom right there? And I'm going to trim it all up, and hopefully I'll get some more flowers, because it's lovely. It's a lovely flower. Look how pretty it is. And it was profuse. It could have something to do with the heat, the insect damage, a lot of factors. Plane going overhead, so I'm going to stop here and I'll show you what I'm going to do on this one. So I stopped the time lapse because it's really tedious work and boring to watch. So I wanted to show you exactly what I was doing on the calibrachoa. You can see if I can show you right here, like these things. So these are the spent flower blooms. I was going around each branch of this plant and picking these off individually, just like that. Going through, and it's hard to do it one-handed, but I'm picking them off to try to promote some more flower growth. So I don't want to have you sit here watching me do all that. So I'm going to go ahead and do the whole plant like that. Then I am going to treat it for slugs or whatever's eating it, and I'm going to fertilize and water. See how droopy it is? And I watered this crazy last night. I just think this pot is too small. It just doesn't retain enough water. So on to that. Okay, here are the next two pots. I'm going to tackle my driveway pots. Look at my Super Petunia Vista bubblegum. You remember what it looked like before? Covered in flowers. Now there's what, 3 or 4? So I'm going to trim that all back. And my coleus, Wicked Witch coleus, is going to be trimmed back. My angelonia trimmed back. And probably look at how dried out this is. I mean, it's just 90 degrees every day here. It's got to be like 88 now. I switched, took my hat off because I was sweating profusely. Put my hair up. I'm going to guess my face is going to have to get some sun today. This one's faring a little bit better. It is a little bit more shady on this side, and my flag kind of shades it a little bit. So let's get going on these pots. And also look at the insect damage. See it there, there, and down here. So I am going to treat this for insects too. And I will fertilize and water. So here's the after. I don't know if you can tell how much I took off, but I took off a ton of plant matter off both of these pots. There was a lot of dead stuff in there and I fertilized. Now I'm gonna go do this pot. This is the last one. This one still looks pretty good. I did trim this once before, but I can see some insect damage, a lot of insect damage. Let me see. Right there, right, where's the flower? Right there. I mean, all over. Look at this one. So I'm gonna trim it all up just like I did the others. Some of this media shower verbena has to be trimmed up. They're going to seed. See this part right here? So I'm gonna trim some of that up too. Give it a good haircut, water, fertilize, and give it some bug and slug. Almost done. So here is the after of my front step pot. Sorry, there's a car going by. I don't know if you can see, but I took off all of that. And as you noticed when I was doing the time lapse, the wind is blowing and it blew my camera over. So we'll see how it flushes out. So that's all of my pots, and if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna go inside and cool off because I am absolutely melting. In the background you can see my roses along the front of the fence have flushed out after I pruned them back pretty hard. It took about 2 or 3 weeks, so I'm thinking that those pots in 2 or 3 weeks will be looking fantastic, and I'll give you an update. Again, thanks again. I appreciate your watching, and if you like the content, you can like and subscribe. Thank you. Bye.